Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Max Football Game of the Week presented by Canuck Studios. And we have a great one here today. The 14th ranked Linfield Wildcats will be going on the road to play against the 18th ranked Rochester Yellow Jackets. Both teams who are making their very first appearance in the top 25 poll so far in the inaugural season of the All-Created Teams Dynasty. But only one of these teams can go 2-0, and we are about to find out who that team is going to be shortly after this coin toss. So it looks like Rochester is going to get the ball to start the game, and Rochester fumbles the ball. However, it thankfully falls out of bounds, and it will be only a loss of 8 yards. Couple of plays later, 3rd and 10 for the Rochester Yellow Jackets. Sanson is going to drop back the pass. He's going to throw to the left-hand side towards the sideline. However, he doesn't get enough air on it, and it's going to be just short. Rochester will have to go with a 3 and out here early on in this football game, as Rochester is going to have to punt it away early on in this game as he punts it away towards the Linfield 10-yard line. So very nice punt for Rochester, as Linfield will be pinned deep in sort of towards the shadow of their own goal line for their very first possession of the game, which starts on the 11. But here we go. First play, Delaire is actually going to take the play right up the middle, and it's going to be for a gain of 7, but it looks like we have a Rochester player down. And it looks like might be a knee injury resorting for the trainers, and it looks like he's going to be out for the rest of this game as well as for the next few games as well, which is definitely pretty devastating for the Rochester defense early on. But there's still a lot of football to play, and Linfield has their first down so far. This means they are driving on the 24, and it's a fumble. It's down in the air, and Calamento is able to get his hands on the ball. Rochester is going to have some amazing field position now as Rochester starts on the 9-yard line. However, they're not going to be able to come away with any points. Going to have to settle for a field goal. So now after a Linfield 3 and out, Rochester now has the ball, some decent field possession, and Kishi is going to be able to tell them, "Do you love me? Because you left me wide open." As it's going to be a 1st and 10 for Rochester, as the Yellow Jackets early on are driving up the middle, breaks multiple tackles, and Morphew has complete daylight and is going to take it to the end zone for a 60-yard touchdown run, as Rochester is striking first early on, ladies and gentlemen. Rochester will now have a 10-0 lead. So now here we go, the Linfield Wildcats, they need to start getting something going, and they're going to try to get it to their running back, Alex Garcia, who I believe is a custom recruit in this All-Created Teams Dynasty. Nice 7-yard gain on the play. So then 2nd and 3, very next play, Delaire is actually going to do a quarterback sneak right up the middle, and is going to go for a 1st down, gain of 6 yards on the play. Linfield is starting to find their rhythm. However, Garcia is forced back on the next play for a loss of 5 yards on the play. And now we have a long 3rd and 15. Need to get this 1st down here. Try to make sure Rochester doesn't get too much of a lead. And it's nearly intercepted. Rochester is going to get the ball back very shortly, and they have an opportunity to take absolute command of this game, already having a 10-0 lead so far today. And they're going to do just that with Hartland up the left-hand side. Nice post route, and it's going to be a long 1st down, gain of 26 yards on the play. And Rochester is looking to make this a free score gain up the sideline. Gets it to Mackey, and Mackey is down inside the 5. Rochester is really showing out pretty well early on in the spotlight, as now they face the 2nd and goal inside the 2-yard line, looking to get some more points on the board. However, the Linfield defense has something to say about it, as Beachman is able to get into the backfield, and it's an 11-yard sack. So now it's 3rd and 13, and they're just going to go ahead and do that Freddie Kitchens play call and call it right up the middle, and Rochester will have to settle for a field goal. Linfield now down 13-0, and they are just having a hard time going on offense as they fumble the ball backwards once again. Although this time they are luckier in that it fell out of bounds, which makes it a 2nd and 17 on the Linfield 11-yard line. But it's going to be even longer as Rochester, the defensive lineman, he gets in the backfield, and now it's 3rd and 23 on the 5. Gonna just try to make sure that it is not a safety. Certainly we don't want one of those right now. And so Linfield will have to punt the ball away, and Rochester has some amazing field position, and they're going to take advantage of it as Moorfield goes up to middle once again for another 1st down. Rochester quickly driving to try to get into at least field goal range. Of course, they're probably thinking about 6 points as Sampson gets the 1st down there on the play. 2nd and 12, couple of plays later following the quarterback sneak by Sampson. Sampson's going to drop back the pass. He's going to throw a dart up the middle to McCory, who's going to be able to make the easy catch right through the center of the defense. And it's going to be a 1st and 10 on Linfield's 11-yard line. Linfield certainly not looking like the number 14 team in the country. Rochester, on the other hand, looks like they could be ranked a lot higher if they can keep up the pressure. As Sampson, he's going to drop back the pass. He's going to try to throw it to the corner of the end zone, but he doesn't have enough time as Pross gets into the backfield, making it a 9-yard loss, and now it's a 2nd and 19, as right now the Linfield defense starting to wake up as they got their 2nd loss in a row. And Sampson, despite a decent little scurry up the middle on the quarterback sneak, they're going to have to settle for another field goal once again as Linfield calls their 1st timeout there. Linfield's now down 16-0, but they can't get anything going, and they try to do this 4th down conversion despite being on their own 20 to 25-yard line, and unfortunately they don't get it. So Rochester once again has some fantastic field position to work off of, and it'd be interesting to see if they can get into the end zone here, starting off basically in the red zone. Of course, they're going to take some time off the clock here. Morphew, he's going to run up the gut and gets just enough for the 1st down. Rochester is now on the 12-yard line here. Sampson's going to try to drop back to the pass, but he doesn't have enough time, and he's sacked. And oh boy, you don't want to see this if you're a Rochester fan. He is down for the count, and you see the injury on screen. Sampson is done for the rest of the season. What a shame that he has to go down only in the 2nd game of the season, because he's been doing a real good job of orchestrating the Rochester offense. But now their backup's going to be in the game and does finish it out with a field goal attempt. However, the kicker doesn't have enough leg. Those 2 sacks really made the difference to make sure points were not on the board. So in the 2nd half, we have Pilfort here. I believe that is how you pronounce his last name. He is now in the game for the injured starting quarterback. Looks like he'll be the starter for the rest of the season, so it'll be interesting to see how he handles it. Can he manage to game enough to not lose this game? Because if you're a backup quarterback, that's really what you're doing. You don't have to win it, but also don't be the reason your team loses the ball game ultimately. But now here we go. Pilport, 1st and 10 on the 7 after the great punt, and the defense gets behind the line of scrimmage once again, and now Rochester is backed up inside the 2-yard line. Quarterback's going to call some audibles, try to adjust the protection as there's 9 people in the box. However, it doesn't work, and Linfield is on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Linfield finally gets some points, and they have a little bit of life here as they're only down by 2 possessions. So now 16-2 Rochester. If Linfield can get a touchdown here, they can get back into his ball game. And Rivas gets behind the defense. However, he goes out of bounds. Oh, he didn't have anybody in front of him. That could have been a touchdown. But Garcia, though, he's still running pretty well for this Linfield. Definitely one of the brighter spots here on offense today. Even though it's disappointing that they should have gotten a touchdown earlier, but for now the Linfield attack will not have to pay for it as they face a 2nd and 3, and Milliam, the backup running back, actually gets tackled in the backfield, which means now they face a 3rd and 7, and of course they get sacked. So instead of a potential touchdown, they now have a 4th down, and they fumble it again on the 4th down, their 3rd fumble of the day. And it's looking not very good, as now they are in the 4th quarter, as Linfield is just trying desperately to find something on offense, and it just hasn't been working out for them at all today, as Linfield looks like they might be punting again. But after the 3 and out, though, Linfield does have the ball with 7.5 minutes to go. I'm going to try to get something here. If you're Linfield right now, you got to get some points on the board. You need a touchdown. And throws like that to Revis, as long as you're moving those chains, you're stopping the clock. You just got to do what you got to do. As Linfield does get the 1st down here, moves it to the Rochester 39-yard line. As the Rochester offense is struggling a little bit since their starting quarterback has went down, so they are starting to lose wind in their sails. You just got to go out and execute. Here's Delaire. He's going to drop back the pass, throws it to the end zone, and unfortunately, it's going to be well short. So here we go. 4th and 13. They're going to punt it away. But Rochester is facing a 3rd and 8. They're going to have to get the 1st down, and he's going to slide Philport with the nice play. And it continues to get a little bit of time off the clock here. If you're Rochester, the clock is definitely on your side, but they decide to pass it, interestingly, and it works out as Doyley gets behind the defense for a gain of 20 yards on the play, as Rochester is continuing to run this clock down. Philport is looking up actually somewhat promising now that he's had a couple of game reps early on in this season. But here we go, 3rd and 4. Philport's going to throw the ball up the middle, and Steel Cup is going to pick it off. But wait a minute, we have a pass interference, so the interception will not count. And so Rochester will have the ball right back with 4 minutes to go. What a mistimed penalty for the Linfield Wildcats. They certainly needed it. But now instead, Rochester, they have the ball right back. It's 3rd and 3. Time is flying off the clock like a bird going south for the winner. As Philport, he's going to drop back the pass, and he's sacked once again. So Linfield will still have a little bit of life here, but they got to get a touchdown here right now because there's only 2:30 left in this ball game. And Delaire, he's going to chuck it downfield, and that's probably going to be it unless I see some miracles here, because Linfield is, doesn't get the 4th down conversion, and then after that field goal, that's going to pretty much settle it. Then the 18th ranked Rochester Yellow Jackets are going to end up beating the Linfield Wildcats 19-2. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.